Hi, this is Cheryl St.Pierre, and this is a Beebeecraft tutorial, and it's using these beautiful sunstone coin beads. Now, I've just made, this is like a beginner project. It's not that difficult to make, and I've got two versions of it. So, actually, you could make this with just the ear wire, nothing at all else, and the little swirl there just gives it some elegance and some extra handmade look. Or you could choose to have an accent bead of choice with the little mini link that I will show you how to make. And then I made another pair here just to show another option, that if you can't find a matching bead, because sometimes it's hard to match a bead with your sandstone unless you don't have a sandstone little bead, because this is just a 4x6. No, this is a 4x3 rondelle, and I don't have that written in my list exactly what it is. So that's what it is. It's a 4x3 rondelle that I've used in this video. And but if you don't have that, you could choose to make a copper handmade bead. Let's get this sitting right, like this, and it just gives it an organic, earthy type of feel. And this has been oxidized and then buffed. The whole earring has. And I am going to do a video, a tutorial on how to make those chaos beads, and I will, in the description, I will have the link for that. So it's going to be an upcoming one. It's going to be up next week. I'll have the date written in the description, so by the time you see this, it might be released already. But if not, it's something to look forward to. Okay, so here is the list. Oh, First off, I'm going to say, because this is a Beebeecraft video, they have supplied these beads for me. And I just want to say that if you would like to do package opening and tutorials for Beebeecraft, it's open to anybody that has a YouTube channel with 100 subscribers. So that doesn't take that much, and it could get you going, and it's fun to do. And the information on how to get that and the link how to go and check it out is in the description of my video. And so this now is the supply list, and it's the simple coin bead earrings. And you're going to need 2 of the sunstone faceted coin beads, and they're about 12 millimeters wide. So yeah, in the link it's going to tell you the size of the bead. But just for you, those that want to know the dimensions of that, it was 12 millimeters wide, and it is faceted as well. And you're going to need 2 5-inch pieces of 20 gauge wire. I wrote 3 just in case you don't want to use scraps, but I'm using the scraps for the little bead link. So, and I will show you what scrap to keep as we make them. And so 5 inches is 12.5 centimeters, and 20 gauge is 0.81. And I'm using dead soft wire, and it's raw copper. And then you're going to need your 2 accent beads of choice. And as I mentioned already, the ones I used were the 4x3 rondelles. And if you choose to lengthen your earrings that way. Then here is where I'm going to put the link for the Chaos Accent bead. And it's going to be released April 18th. And then, of course, you're going to need your ear wires of choice. Okay, so there's great for your snapshot. And then the tools you just need is basic round nose pliers, chain nose pliers, flush cutters, or snips. And I recommend the ones that can really get into tight places. Beebeecraft sells these. I haven't putting the link to them recently because I didn't think the link was valid anymore. But if you look up flush cutters at the Beebeecraft site, you're going to find the ones that look like this. And if it looks like this, they're the right ones. So that's all you need to know. And then, of course, a ruler. And that's all you need. So let's get started. Okay, so take your 20 gauge piece, two of your 20 gauge pieces of wire, your 5-inch pieces, and measure 2 inches, which is 5 centimeters, and give it a bend. And do that to both pieces. Okay, and we're going to put your beads on the shorter part of the wire. And I'm going to just do both, just so it's done. Now, I don't know if you're going to have a favorite part, side of the bead. Because the sunstone has that glistening effect. One side might have more glistening than the other. So you could pick which is your favorite and have that facing forwards. And we are then also going to have, to do the mirroring effect, have them bent in opposite directions. Basically, it's the same, just flipped over, but you want to have it positioned, your favorite side facing up, and like this, ready to do the work. And then we'll just set one aside and start working with the other. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by bringing it up. Now, we wanted it to the side so that it would start, so that it would start a swerve, because we're kind of wanting an S effect. And so we started on the right side, and we're going to go to the left side of the top wire, and we're going to use our thumbnail or thumb to give it a swerve, because we want it to go through the center, so it looks like that, and then the swerve on top to wrap. See how it's got that S effect? That's what you're aiming for, and it's going to hold your bead in place. I have a dislike of beads that can flip around while you're wearing them. I like to lock my beads in. I don't know if you've noticed that. I've never mentioned it before, but I always like to lock my beads in place. And you know, what's really nice about this simple little design is it also gives a extra elegant touch to your bead or an earring, and gives it that nice homemade, handmade effect. And so now what I'm doing is I'm going to give it a faux wrapped look. And we want 3 wraps. So it's like this. Now it's not cinched up really nice, so I'm going to try and take my chain nose pliers and try and grab that to tighten it up. From the back's probably easier. It's being difficult. Might have to push it down instead. So right from the get-go, just try to wrap it as neat as you can. And let's see, is that good? Okay. And now we're going to snip it off at the back of the wire as close as possible, so you don't have to do much crimping. So bring your pliers or snips as close as possible, and then snip. And you can keep that scrap to do the bead top if you want, because that is enough. That's going to be enough. And crimp it in if you have to. Then we are going to make the loop going back and forward, which is unusual. And that's just because I think we can make a neater loop. Well, it's your personal choice. I'm going back and forward on this pair, and it was mainly because of the chaos. So since this one isn't the chaos one, let's go side to side, and that way we have both. With the chaos one, it was front to back, because I had the neater, my chaos beads had really, really neat circles, and this one Well, it's not bad. I guess it didn't really matter. I just chose to do it that way. So you could choose whichever way you want. So we're going to go sideways this time. And then try and make as neat a loop as possible. And remember, the consistency of your loops are very important because it affects the length and the look of your earring. So I'm making the loop, making sure it's sitting straight, and then I'm going to snip precisely in place there. That's where the tiny snips are so important, or flush cutters. Okay. So see how neat it did in there? It did it really neat. Okay. So that's done. That's all there's to it. Excuse me. Okay, so now we're going to do the other side. And again, I'm going to flip it upside down because I'm right-handed. And I am wanting to start that S shape. So I've got it up there, bringing it across to the center of the bead. Okay, and I'm holding it in place while I do this bending of the top. So we want to get that S shape going. And it didn't go as smoothly as anticipated. So let's see if I can fix that up. Okay, I'm not sure why I did that. It's not, oh, that's still not bad. I'm just fussing. Okay, and then try and go as low as possible. Try and make my wraps as neat as possible. 3 wraps at the front. And ending at the back where we will do the snipping. Keeping that wire to do the bead accent for the crystal or whichever bead you choose. And now I want to make sure that this is nice and straight up and down. We'll have to check that later. Yeah, it's going to bend again anyways. I did that. I should have done that later, not now. Okay, and I'm going to bend it again like that and make my loop. Okay, and then snip it off. And see that one, I kind of snipped it a little short. And that could have an impact on the loop. But it's still okay. Still okay. To the side a little bit. I'm just gonna bring it on over a little bit. Okay. There, and then let's look at the swerves. They look pretty good. So the main thing is to try, once you get that first swerve made, bring it on to the middle of the bead and then try and do that little swerve that way with your fingers. So that's the key, I think, is having it cross over the middle of the bead. Okay, so now those scraps that I told you to save, we're going to take them, and if you want, you can straighten them out like this with your pliers because it work hardens the wire. So that's why I recommend just doing the snap kind of straightening. With the wire this short, that's the easiest way anyways. And then I'm just going to show you how to do one of these I'm sure you know how to do it. I'm going to snip that flat, actually. Okay, and I'm just, your favorite size of loop. And so the consistency of this loop is very important for this as well, because it affects the length of your bead link. Okay, so you want an eye. I think I ended up doing that out of the camera. You'll see me do that to the other side. Okay, so put your bead on and hold it against the loop and use the bead as support to bend your wire. And we're making these loops both on the same side, facing the same way. And then your favorite size of loop. Now, I recommend that you don't do a 45-degree angle, because then your round nose pliers can't get in there to make the loop. So I have it more like that. So it's more of a 45 instead of a 90. Because then I can get my pliers in there and make a tighter loop. And sometimes, I mean, the little bit of shortness of the wire can be a little bit difficult to work with, but it's not bad. So scraps are great for this. If this is too short for you, go in your scrap pile. I can't mention it enough that your scrap pile can be utilized. So have a cup in your craft room where you store little pieces of wire, and try to use them up on a regular basis so it doesn't get too full. And then you could do projects like my heart link bracelet that isn't out yet. It's coming out next week. That uses nothing but scraps. So there, that's all that's to that. Okay, so I have both of mine done, and I'm now just gonna put them on, and the ear wires on, just assembly right now. Okay, so that's assembled. Now I'll assemble the second one. I just realized, because I made the loop the traditional way, I needed to have these facing. See, I changed in the middle of my design, my intentions, and so I messed up. So I do need these loops facing the opposite direction, 90 degrees, you know, comparing to each other. So I'm going to have to modify that just by going like this, holding the one end and flipping the loop. Now, did I make my earring go backwards? Nope. Okay, so now I'm going to, before I assemble the next one, I'm going to do that ahead of time, where I just take one and make them 90 degrees to each other. They might need minor adjustments later. We will do that with our checks. Okay, so I have both assembled, and now we'll just do this simple checks. And I always encourage people to do the checks. That's why I do them. And to make sure your ear wire is straight and your loops are straight and that it's hanging straight. And it's actually hanging perfectly straight, so there's no modifications or adjustments needed to this one. But this might be a different story. Let's see. How is it lining up? It's going slightly to the left, inwards. So I'm thinking, which one is it? I know this one isn't sitting straight, so I'm just going to straighten that out. And let's see if that made a difference. Nope. Okay, so it must be the loop on this one itself. Let's make sure it's straight. Okay. Does that make it worse or better? Sometimes you think the wrong way. Nope, there it is. It's fixed. Where is it? It's being silly. There we go. Okay, so this is what they look like. All done. There you go. Okay, well, thank you for joining me with this Beebeecraft video, and please like the video if you like this, and please leave a comment. I can't say it enough that I need you to comment. It helps my videos tremendously. And also consider joining my memberships. It really helps support the channel, the YouTube channel. That's what it's called, right? Okay, so I've said all that. I just want to say God bless, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye for now.